Christian was a 9-year-old boy with a big imagination. He loved adventure, but there was one thing he didn't love: worrying. And lately, he had been worrying a lot. One evening, Christian sat at the dinner table, pushing his peas around with his fork. His parents, Daniel and Mary, noticed something was wrong.
Christian, what's on your mind?
His father asked. Christian sighed.
What if I forget my lines in the school play? What if I trip and everyone laughs at me? And what if there's a giant octopus in the lake when we go camping?
Mary chuckled.
A giant octopus? In the lake?
You never know.
Christian exclaimed. Daniel smiled and patted his son's shoulder.
I understand, mate. But do you know what the Bible says? Cast all your worries on God because He cares for you.
Christian frowned.
Cast my worries, like throw them?
Daniel nodded.
Exactly. You give your worries to God and trust Him to handle them.
But how?
Christian asked. Mary had an idea. She grabbed a shoebox, cut a slot in the top, and wrote on the lid, "The worry box."
Whenever you're worried, write it on a piece of paper, put it in this box, and pray. That's like giving your worry to God.
Christian wasn't sure, but he decided to try. That night, he wrote, "I'm scared I'll forget my lines," and slipped it into the box. The next day at school, Christian took a deep breath before stepping onto the stage. His heart pounded, but then he remembered his worry was in the box. He had already given it to God. He whispered,
God, I trust you.
and then performed perfectly. Later that week, Christian wrote another note. What if there's a giant octopus at the lake? And put it in the box. That weekend, when they arrived at the campsite, Christian hesitated at the water's edge. Then he took a deep breath and thought, I already gave this worry to God. Suddenly, his dad grabbed his shoulders and shouted,
Ah, a tentacle.
Christian screamed until he saw his dad holding up a long piece of seaweed. His parents burst out laughing.
Not funny.
Christian giggled.
Okay, maybe a little.
That night, under the stars, Christian smiled.
Mom, Dad, I think the worry box is working.
Daniel hugged him.
That's because you're trusting God. He cares about every single worry you have.
Christian yawned and closed his eyes. He knew there might still be things to worry about, but now he had a secret weapon. He could always give them to God.